Welcome to the online tutorial for the single slip stitch patchwork piece which you've purchased from my Etsy shop. If you are watching this and you haven't purchased a pack, then you will have to buy your own needle and wool. If you purchase a pack from the shop, Home Design by Katie Brown, it will provide you with a needle like this, some wool, a worksheet to work to, and you can also use this online tutorial to help you better understand crochet. So we start by making our knot in our wool, and if you don't know how to do that, there will be other online tutorials that I will produce that will show you how to make your first knot. So we take the wool and we put it around the front of our needle. We pull the needle through. Very simple, very easy to follow. So around the front, pull. So we've made 1, 2, 3 chains there, and the fourth is on the needle. We're going to make 20 chains along to start our patchwork piece. So carry on for another 16. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Right, you should have a lovely chain of 20 stitches. Now to start going up, we have to add another stitch onto the end. So if we put another one on, 1, and then we want to pass the needle through the next stitch along, which is that one. So that's the one I've come out of. That is the next one along. It's very important that you don't drop any of these stitches because it will show later on. Your patchwork piece will gradually just get smaller and smaller. So you carry on as before. Put the wool around the needle hook, pull it through both wool. So in again to the next stitch, put your wool round, pull it through both stitches, and you want to do that all the way along. Now my advice if you're first starting out is to keep this relatively loose, because if you keep it too tight it becomes almost impossible to squeeze the needle in and it'll be very hard work. So keep the wool as loose as you dare to go, just so that you can practice this step and get used to it. So you keep going along the chain. Just pushing the wool through the top of the stitch, passing it over and through both stitches. Otherwise you'll make a totally different stitch which you didn't mean to make. It can be quite tricky to start off with, but as your crochet grows it's easier to hold on to and will be easier to make the stitches. Must have gone a little bit too tight here. And the last one. Right, at the end of every row you must make a slip stitch, an additional stitch, not into anything, and you must do that at the end of every single row, otherwise you will lose a stitch as you go up. So put a stitch in and then turn it around and go back the other way. right to the end. So that's your extra stitch that you put on last time, and this is the stitch that's right close to it, right to the end. And now we're at the end. We do on an additional stitch, turn it round and go back again. Ooh, made it a bit tight. See, the tighter you make it, the harder it is to pass the needle through. So that's the additional stitch you did on the last row below. So you want to go into that one there, next to it, which is a little small. Pull it through. Made it a bit bigger this time, left it a little bit looser. Do your additional stitch, turn it around and go back into the one right next door to it. So it should look like that basically. That's the one I came out of, and that's the one directly next door to it. So keep pushing your crochet needle through the top of the last row and work your way back along. So if you look close, that's the additional stitch, and then that one there is the one we finish on. Right, so you should keep going like that until you've got a square piece of crochet to go on your patchwork blanket, whichever blanket you plan to make. And to finish off, right at the end, you take the wool through that last stitch. Oh, you obviously cut it off, and you just pull the wool completely through, and then you weave it back in, because that will act as your knot. So at the end of it, you'll have that, and then to hide the end, you want to weave that back in to the rest of the crochet to hide it. And that's the end of our tutorial. If you have any questions, please send them off to me, and I hope you enjoyed this patchwork piece. There'll be more to come out soon, and I hope that you will continue and purchase other ones to go with your blanket. Thank you very much.